Taurus, welcome to your hopes, fears, and reality spread. As per usual, you can click right on that description box below and it will talk about the significance as well as the card placement. And the deck that I'm used will be mentioned in there as well, if that interests you. Normally, when I see the Fool in the inverse, I think of the Fool at the end of his journey, but having it here with the Justice, it feels like you don't want to venture out, Taurus. You don't want a new journey. You feel very balanced in the energy that you're at, and you don't want anything to change. Now, I don't know if this is career life, I don't know if this is home life, but there's some stability in your life that you're counting on, and you don't want that stability to be shaken. So you are hoping, in order to maintain balance and solidity under your feet, you are hoping to stay still. You are hoping things don't change. So you're hoping for stagnancy in the stability of your life. And it's funny because you have two cards of change here in your fears. So you fear having to rework your resources, okay? Maybe you're reworking your resources in one area and you don't want anything to change in the other areas. So here's what I'm talking about. Resources can be about health, wealth, or time management, okay? So maybe your wealth is changing, but you don't want your health or time management to change. Maybe your time management is changing and you don't want, you know what I mean? Maybe your career is changing, but you don't want your home life to change. Maybe your home life is changing, but you have the stability of your career. Whatever the situation is, you face having to rework all of your resources all at once. If you're going to make a change, you only want one thing to change at a time. Again, because this is your fears section, this is the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands comes in and makes quick changes without thinking about the consequence. So you also fear, this is why I'm saying one thing in your life might be changing and you don't want anything else to change. Because you're afraid that by changing one thing, it's going to cause a snowball effect and spill into the other areas of your life. So once again, you're hoping to maintain a certain amount of stability because there is inevitable change coming and you only want one thing to change. You fear the snowball effect of everything changing and everything being thrown up in the air. The reality of the situation is how do I put this? The Queen of Swords speaks the truth. She does not do it to be malice, okay? So you know and understand the truth of the stable environment that you are clinging to, and you recognize that there is a sense of emotional stability within this stable environment, okay? But sometimes the truth can be a little bit hard to swallow, okay? So you recognize that you're in a position where you cannot change one thing in your life, or I'm sorry, that you cannot change more than one thing in your life without having some emotional dysregulation. Oof, all of a sudden I can't talk. Let me say that one more time, okay? You recognize that you cannot change more than one thing at a time in your life without emotional dysregulation. So, if something changes in your work environment, you're fine as long as your home environment is stagnant. If something changes in your home environment, you're fine as long as your work is stagnant. Do you see what I mean? Because if something is changing in your home environment and something is changing in your work environment at the same time, there's emotional dysregulation and it causes you panic. That's what we have here. So that's the reality of the situation. Now, it doesn't have to be home and life. I mean, it can be other groups that you're involved with, community, church, family, whatever. Home and work is just a good way to explain it for the purposes of the video. But it could be family, could be familial. You know, you don't want things to, if something changes in your family environment, then you don't want something to change in your time management as well, so on and so forth. So take it as it applies. You only have the capacity to make one major life adjustment at a time. That's what I'm trying to say. Whew. Whew. So, there is an ending and a new beginning. See, I knew there was change coming. So the world is about endings and new beginnings, but some people are uncomfortable with those things because whenever you're wrapping up one ending and you're getting to the new beginning, there's this little time of void. You know, it's like if your plate is full and you slide something off of your plate in order to put something new back on, there's a point where there's this emptiness, it's this hole, and that's where that anxiety comes from. So if there's just a small emptiness, you're okay with it. But if that emptiness gets too big, well, that's that snowball effect that you're worried about. So you don't want to change this and this and this. You don't want to empty your whole plate. You would rather slide something off, put something on. Slide something off, put something on. It's called a systematic approach. And you're an earth sign. Earth signs like systematic approaches. But although there is an ending and a new beginning in this time of void, again, the changes that are happening, you don't want them to happen too fast, okay? Because you feel this emotional dysregulation coming on. The Queen of Cups nurtures an environment, and in this case you're trying very hard to nurture yourself, okay? What you don't want is to have to rely on somebody else to nurture you through this change, okay? You're trying to be very strong and you're trying to manage it on your own. But there's something within your personality that still wants to look for this knight in shining armor to come in and save you. But the Queen of Cups says, nay, I've learned enough lessons in my life. This is the only queen, this is the only cup in the entire deck where she has a lid on it, okay? You are trying your hardest to maintain control of this emotional dysregulation because the truth of the matter is, as this change comes in, it causes you a bit of anxiety. There's a lot of unknowns, and you'd much rather have as much known on your plate as possible. But the wonderful thing about the World card is about elevation. It's about lessons learned. It's about ending karmic cycles. So what this tells me is that you are digging way deep inside yourself to do this change for yourself. So if you're feeling panic about this change in your life, you aren't really telling anybody about it at all, because you don't want to dysregulate. You don't want to have the emotional dysregulation and set everything else off balance and get this snowball effect where you have to rely on somebody to come in and save you yet again. You want to do this for yourself, by yourself. More power to you, Taurus. It's difficult, but there is no growth without discomfort. So as you struggle your way through this and find your own balance, know that you will come out stronger on the other side. I hope you found a message that serves your highest good, Taurus, and I'll see you next time.